Okay, and the third and final method I'm going to show you, I actually just learned this not too long ago. I got to plug this other guy's YouTube site because what I'm doing is I'm kind of stealing his idea. I got to give a plug to the guy at Yay Math. It's a YouTube channel right there. He's got a lot of different videos of him teaching his class. He's a teacher, great teacher. Kids love him. A lot of excitement goes into his teachings. Yay Math, Y-A-Y, Yay, basically. And then Math, M-A-T-H, all one word right there. Yay Math. Got to give him a plug. Check it out sometime if you get a chance. But he came up with this third and final method I'm about to show you. It's what he calls it is the Berry method. Now, this is a much more quick and efficient way than the first way, and it's a little bit more quick, a little bit more efficient than the second way. Okay, 4x squared minus 12x plus 5. What you do is you set up two kind of lines, groupings of parentheses, a top one and a bottom one. Okay, my final answer is going to be right here. What he does, x squared, you know, x squared is x times x, so put an x, and you got 4. Just put 4 in front of both x's. Whatever number's there, put that in front of both your x's. Now, I know what you're thinking, but 4x times 4x is 16x squared, and we got 4x squared up there. Okay, doesn't matter because this isn't my final answer. Right down here is going to be my final answer. Okay, now to get the other two numbers right here. What we do, kind of like we did on the last problem, the factor by grouping, we take the first times the third. 4 times 5 is 20, so I'm going to put 20 on my T-chart. Now, on the last problem we were subtracting to try to get this number, but now since that number is a positive, we're going to add. The factors need to add this time because that number is positive. Last problem it was negative. Add to 12. Okay, so it's going to be 2 and 10. 2 times 10 is 20, and 2 plus 10 definitely adds to 12. So put the 2, put the 10 right there. Now we got to put signs. Now, if you recall back to the last video I made on the factoring the easy trinomials, whatever sign was right there, we put that on the bigger number, and that's what we're going to do on the Berry method too. So put minus in front of the 10, and now 2 times 10 we had to get and then this number right here is positive basically. So if that's a negative, that also has to be a negative as well. Just trust me, it works, okay? If this number's a positive, it's got to be negative times negative. They got to have the same sign right there. And plus they have to add up to negative 12, negative 2, negative 10 gives you that right there. Okay, so now we got this. I know if I FOIL that out, I'm not going to get anywhere as close to this, but that's what this second grouping's for. All we're going to simply do basically is divide the greatest common factor out of each grouping of parentheses. The 4 and the 2, because and he calls it the Berry method because think of these two as both being trees. We want to see what we can pick from each tree. So 4 and 2, we can divide that both by 2, 4x and 2, greatest common factor would be 2. Then the 4 and the 10, the greatest common factor is once again 2. They're not always the same that were on this problem. Just look at greatest common factor. Now, these 2's you have on the bottom here, the 2's you're dividing by, kind of like, I guess he calls it berry, because these are like bad berries, I guess. You pick them out and you throw them away. You don't do anything with them ever again. Okay, but what you're concerned with is the dividing part of it. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so 2x. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so minus 1. And then divide inside here. 4x divided by 2 is 2x. 10 divided by 2 is 5, so minus 5. Okay, I think this is my final answer. Let's FOIL it out to check and see what we got right there. 2x times 2x is 4x squared. Outer 2x times negative 5 is negative 10x. Negative 1 times 2x is negative 2x. Then negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. Now let's put our like terms together. Remember how you want to read that to yourself. Negative 10 minus 2. That's negative 12x. Okay? There we go, and that matches up perfectly with what I got here, so this has to be my final answer right there. Okay, that's the third and final one. This is probably the quickest, easiest way. Okay, if you want the most time efficient, quickest, easiest, I would go with the Berry method. Again, remember, multiply the first and the third, 20 if that number's positive, you're adding to try to get the middle number, place the numbers here. If that number was negative, bigger has to be negative. Therefore, the only way to get negative 12 would be negative 2. Okay, once you get this set up, you can't go wrong, basically. It's called the Berry method. Again, shout out to yaymath.com for coming up with that technique, which I will definitely be using in my classes next year. Okay, now on the next video, what have we done? All we've done so far is basically take a trinomial and factor it. There's really seems like there's no rhyme or reason as to why we do that. In the next video, we're actually going to use factoring for some useful procedures right there. So until next time, this is Hermsen over and out. Power to the math geeks.